One of the important questions that never really gets answered when you go to monks that are teaching meditation is, I ask them very directly, what is craving? And I got a bunch of assorted answers. And then it was like, oh, it's desire and things like that. But I ask them a follow-up question. How do you recognize when craving arises? What are you supposed to do with craving when it arises? How do you let go of craving? Now, this is very important questions. And it's a necessary thing to really understand that craving is the source of suffering. So, when you're sitting in meditation and your mind gets distracted, you'll notice that there's a kind of tension or tightness that happens in your head, around your brain. There's a membrane that goes around your brain. And I forgot the whole trip I've been without my little brain, which drives me crazy. Anyway, that membrane is called the meninges. And that tension and tightness is how you recognize that craving is present in your mind. There was some paperwork there on the seat. I don't know if anybody picked any of that up. They should.
Oh, the seat over there?
Yeah. Yeah. Craving always arises as tension and tightness in your mind and in your body. And the way to let go of the craving is by recognizing that there is tension and tightness in your head and relax. Now, a lot of people, when they practice meditation, they get caught up in thinking and analyzing and trying to control the thoughts. And that is not how you let go of craving. And there should be some little, yeah, those have to be out and about. And in the afternoon and in the evening. Now this being able to recognize craving is an important part of this meditation. And this little piece of paper that you have here, it's something you can carry with you to remind you what this process is. This little piece of paper is right effort. It's part of the Eightfold Path. I just added a couple extra things and turn them all into R's so it's easy to talk about. I call it the 6 R's. And the way you practice the 6 R's is by recognizing that your mind is distracted. Your mind is pulled away from your object of meditation, and I'll talk about the object of meditation in a bit. Then you let that distraction be. You don't get involved in the story about the distraction. You simply let go of that distraction. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's anger or dissatisfaction or just thinking ho-hum thoughts. Whatever it is, you let go of that craving, or you let go of that distraction. And you let go of the distraction by not keeping your attention on it. If you keep your attention on the distraction, you're feeding the distraction, and it will last longer and cause a lot of suffering. So you don't keep your attention on the distraction. I don't care what the distraction is. Anything that pulls your attention to it, let it be. Don't get involved with the story of it. Now you'll notice that there's a tension and tightness in your head, in your brain. And you relax. Now that's the first part of the 6 R's. You recognize when your mind is distracted, you release the distraction, and you relax. The next part of the 6 R's is you re-smile. Now, this meditation is a smiling meditation. And smiling, although it doesn't seem like it's very important, is very important, because the more you smile while you're doing your meditation, the easier mindfulness becomes. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness is remembering to observe how mind's attention moves from one thing to another. That's all mindfulness is. So you remember to observe that your mind is distracted. You let go of the distraction. Don't keep your attention on it. Even if you're in mid-sentence in your mind, just let it be. Don't pay attention to it. Relax that tightness in your head. Now you want to put a smile on your lips, a smile in your eyes, a smile in your mind, and a smile in your heart. Now you come back to your object of meditation. For this retreat, for most of you, I want you to be practicing loving-kindness meditation. And I'll explain more in just a moment. But you come back to the loving-kindness and stay with the loving-kindness for as long as you can. It doesn't matter how many times your mind gets distracted. It doesn't matter what the distraction is. You let it be, you relax, you smile, you come back to your object of meditation and stay with your object of meditation for as long as you can. Most people that have practiced meditation before with other people, they hear that you have to put in more energy and more effort. And actually, you have to stop putting so much energy and effort into doing this. If the thought doesn't go away, it doesn't matter. If the tightness doesn't go away, never mind. You just do it one time, smile, come back to your object of meditation. If it's still there, your mind will go back to it. Then you do the same thing again. Now, some people, when I was in Indonesia, they were trying to use the 6 R's on everything that arose in their mind. And you don't have to 6R everything that arises in your mind. Only if it pulls your attention to it. There can be some background chitter-chatter, don't pay attention to it. If it doesn't pull your attention away, don't 6R it. Just stay with your object of meditation. Eventually that will fade away by itself. One of the things that the Buddha said was your attention is nutriment. In other words, if you keep your attention on that distracting thought, you're feeding it. And when you feed it, it gets bigger and stronger. So when you let go of it and don't keep your attention on it, you start to starve that. And eventually your mind will start to settle down. If you start your meditation and your mind gets distracted 20 or 30 times in a sitting, and you use the 6Rs and practice that and come back to your object of meditation, that is not a bad meditation. It's an active meditation, but it's not a bad meditation. Every time you let go of a distraction and relax and smile and come back to your object of meditation, it improves your mindfulness. So you're able to observe more quickly over a period of time when your mind starts to get distracted. So I know that there's a lot of meditation teachers that tell you don't think. And that's not an easy thing. And it takes many years to develop that kind of practice. But the Buddha said that when you're on the path and you're practicing Dhamma, which is the teaching of the Buddha, that it is immediately effective. Every time you let that thought be and relax and come back to your object of meditation after smiling, then you'll notice that you don't have any thoughts in your mind at that time. Your mind is clear, your mind is bright, your mind is very alert. That is a pure mind. Why is it pure? Because you have let go of the craving. So you bring this pure mind back to your smile, back to your object of meditation. And that means that this is immediately effective because you have let go of the craving. When you're practicing loving-kindness meditation, you first start by sending loving and kind thoughts to yourself. Now, if you've already been practicing this for a while, this is not for you. This is for people that haven't done this before. You think of a time when you were happy, when you held a little baby in your arms or an animal or whatever it happened to be, and you felt that warm heart connection with that being. That is the feeling of loving kindness. So you bring up that feeling, and then you make a wish for your own happiness. You know what it feels like to be happy? You know what it feels like to be peaceful and calm? You know what it feels like to be joyful? Whatever wish you make for yourself, you need to feel that wish. And then take that wish and put it in your heart and surround yourself with that feeling. And radiate that feeling to yourself. Again, it doesn't matter how many times your mind gets distracted. Every time your mind gets pulled away, it's not a bad thing. It's just what's happening in the present moment. And it's okay. It has to be okay because that's the truth. When your mind is distracted, you have a distraction. You don't need to fight with the distraction. You don't need to try to make the distraction stop. You're putting in too much energy, and that causes a distraction to last longer. So all you do is simply use the 6 R's. You recognize your mind is distracted. You let the distraction be. You relax the tightness caused by that distraction. Re-smile. Come back to your object of meditation. Stay with your object of meditation as long as you can. So, the first 10 minutes of every sitting, please send loving and kind thoughts to yourself. After 10 minutes, then you start sending loving and kind thoughts to a spiritual friend. A spiritual friend is someone of the same sex, and they are alive. Okay? So you need to stay with the same spiritual friend until I tell you to change. So it's a person of the same sex, and they are alive. A spiritual friend is someone that when you think of them and their good qualities, you really like that person. You sincerely do wish them well. So you stay with that spiritual friend all the way through the sitting. You sit no less than 30 minutes to start off with. When you're sitting, you want to sit with your back nicely straight, not leaning heavily into the chair, but nicely straight. And don't move. Don't wiggle your toes, don't wiggle your fingers, don't scratch, don't rub, don't change your posture. Don't rock back and forth. This is something that I've run across lately. If you want to see someone that sits like that very well, he does. You can move as much as he does. So when you're sitting in meditation, you sit very, very still. While you're sitting like this, there can be some sensations that arise in your body. You feel a little stiff. You can feel some heat arising. You can feel an itch or want to cough, whatever it happens to be. When that pulls your attention to it, then you use the 6 R's. You recognize that your mind's not on your object of meditation. You let it be by itself. You relax, you re-smile, you come back to your object of meditation, your spiritual friend. And you stay with the same spiritual friend all the time. Then you get up and it's time to do some walking. You stay with a spiritual friend while you're walking and wish them well. When you're doing your walking, you don't walk slowly, you walk at a normal pace. And your mind isn't going to be used to it at first, and the walking is somewhat difficult because you're used to walking around thinking about this, thinking about that, not paying attention to what you're doing. Okay, as soon as you notice that, then you 6R and come back to your spiritual friend. You might stay with them for 3 or 4 seconds before your mind gets distracted again. Okay, do it again. The 6 R's are the most important part of this practice. They will carry you through to Nibbana, I promise. So anything that distracts your mind, you want to let it be, relax, smile, come back to your spiritual friend. Walk no less than 15 minutes. If your walking is good, walk longer. When you're walking, keep your eyes down. If you're looking around at this or that, and I know there's a lot of stuff to look at around here, then that's where your mind goes, and all of a sudden you're thinking about this or that. So you have to 6R. So keep your eyes nicely, comfortably down, 6 or 8 feet in front of you. While you're sitting, if some kind of a disturbance happens in your body, you get a pain in your knee, you get an itch someplace, you feel like you need to cough, the first thing you need to do is let it be. Don't keep your attention on it. And relax. Now, the nature of these kind of sensations is they don't go away right away. So it's going to come back. It's going to be like it doesn't disappear. It just keeps on coming. Doesn't matter. Every time you notice your attention has gotten pulled to it, then you let it be and relax and smile and come back to your object of meditation. Eventually, one of two things will happen. Either that sensation will go away or it won't. It doesn't matter either way. If it goes away, then it's easier to stay with your object of meditation. If it doesn't go away, your mind will start to get into a sense of balance, and it doesn't even pull your attention to it anymore. Now, when you're sitting, the sensation that arises is there. That's the truth. Anytime you try to fight with the truth, anytime you try to control the truth, anytime you try to make the truth be the way you want it to be, that is a cause of suffering. So you want to just allow that sensation to be there without reacting to it. Like you always act. When an itch comes up, you always scratch it, right? Well, now you just let it be. It's not so important. So, sit comfortably. If you are sitting and you have a pain that arises, and you sit with it for a little while and it doesn't go away, and you know that you're hurting your body in one way or another, and you know that by when you get up and start to walk, the pain doesn't go away. Don't sit like that anymore. We don't want you to hurt yourself. There is something called a meditation pain, and that meditation pain, when it arises and is there, and it can be real intense for a period of time, and then you get up and start walking, within 5 or 10 seconds it goes away. That pain goes away. That means it's a meditation pain. So if you have a meditation pain and you start recognizing that as a meditation pain, then just 6R and let it be and relax. When your meditation is good, sit longer, as long as you're comfortable. But if a meditation pain comes up, that means you have to roll up your sleeves a little bit. Now it's time to go to work and use your 6Rs. Look at how tricky your mind becomes. You'll start thinking about, boy, I hate this feeling when it comes up. I really want to scratch that itch. Every thought about that sensation makes the sensation bigger and more intense. So the first thing you want to do is notice that you're thinking, let go of the thinking, and relax. Now you'll notice there's a tight mental fist wrapped around that sensation. That tight mental fist is aversion. I don't like that feeling. I don't want it there. So you allow it to be there and you relax and let it be by itself. Smile and come back to your object of meditation. Your mind goes back to it again. You start having thoughts about it again. Let go of the thoughts, relax. Let go of that tight mental fist wrapped around that and relax, smile, come back to your object of meditation. This is a process of do it again. Okay? Always come back to the 6 R's with anything that distracts your mind. Any kind of movement, any kind of vibration, any kind of thought, anything that pulls your attention away is a distraction. Take interest in sending your spiritual friend kind and loving thoughts. The more interested you are in sincerely wishing your friend well, the easier it is to stay with that friend. When you start to feel a little bit of sleepiness arise, this is called sloth and torpor. The reason that it arises is because you've been with your spiritual friend for a while and your mind starts thinking these little tiny thoughts by itself. And before long you start to get dreamy, and before long your posture starts slumping, and before long you start nodding. And when you get done, when you notice that, quite often you forget to use the 6 R's, and you sit up real straight. I'm not going to let that happen again, and it happens again. The more interest you take in how that arose, the easier it is to let go of that sleepiness. All distractions happen in exactly the same way. A feeling arises. Now, feeling is not emotion. Feeling is either a pleasant feeling or a painful feeling. Right after that feeling arises, there's tension and tightness that happens in your head, in your mind. That is craving. Right after that arises, then all of your thoughts, all of your opinions, all of your ideas, all of your concepts, all of your story about why you like or dislike that feeling arises. Right after that, you get into your habitual tendency of every time this kind of thing arises, I always do that. Now this is where the emotional attachment is stored. And right after that, you have a birth of action and sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair. In other words, suffering arises. And you're taking that suffering personally. This is me. This is mine. This is who I am. This is my thoughts. These are my feelings. That means that craving is present in your mind at that time. You use the 6 R's, you recognize when your mind is distracted, you release the distraction, You relax. Now you've let go of that craving. Even if it's for a brief moment, you've let it go. Smile. Come back to your object of meditation. Continue with it as long as you can. Sometimes it's only half of a wish for your happiness before your mind gets distracted again. Doesn't matter. This is a practice of patience. It's there, yes. It's real, yes. I don't like it, true. But it's not yours. You didn't sit there and say, well, I haven't had an itch for a long time. It's time to get some itches. It arises because the conditions are right for it to arise. What you do with what arises in the present moment dictates what happens in the future. Now, every hindrance that arises has I am that attached to it. The hindrances are exceptionally important. Hindrances are not your enemy to fight with. They're just simply a distraction that pulls your attention away. You use the 6 R's and you come back. You don't need to note it until it goes away, thinking, and then come back to your object of meditation. You don't need to note it. All you have to do is recognize that your mind is distracted. Let the distraction be there by itself. Don't keep your attention on it. Don't feed the distraction. Relax, smile, come back to your object of meditation, stay with your object of meditation as long as you can. It's real simple. Now, you can be sitting in meditation and you're staying with your object of meditation very nicely, and there's a distraction every now and then. That's fine. You 6R it and let it be, and you come back. And then it's time to get up and do your walking meditation. You stay with your spiritual friend while you're getting up, while you're going outside, while you're doing your walking. And then you come back and sit some more. Always coming back to yourself for the first 10 minutes. Sending loving and kind thoughts to yourself. Feel the wish that you make for yourself. Now, I just gave you some examples of a wish. There are sometimes people will come and get in touch with me and they say, I have a friend that's really going through a rough time right now. And they're thinking all the time, can you help them? I say, I can give it a try. So I start sending loving and kind thoughts to that person, and the wish that I make for that person is having an open, accepting mind. But I have to feel that wish and put that wish in my heart and surround that person in my heart with this feeling of having an open, accepting mind. And after I do that for a little while, I get in touch with this person and say, well, how are they doing now? Oh, they're much better. Now, meditation is not just sitting. Meditation is life. All different aspects of your life. You can use the 6 R's no matter what you're doing with your daily activities. Did you give them jobs to do? Okay. When you're doing whatever task she's giving you, that's the time to practice your 6 R's. I don't feel like washing these dishes. Who doesn't want to? Who doesn't like it? Who wants it to be different than it is? You get caught in those thoughts and those feelings. Now you're not practicing the 6 R's. You're not doing the meditation. You have to let go of your opinions and your ideas and your thoughts about, because that's what the Buddha called clinging. And that leads to your emotional reaction to it, and that leads to putting in too much energy and too much effort, and now you really get caught in a cycle. My mind is so active, I can't do anything with it. It just keeps on going and going and going. Okay, fine, stop trying so hard. You don't have to control anything. You let it be there. And relax. And smile. And wish happiness to a friend. Feel that feeling of your wish. The thing with a hindrance is that's where you store your attachments. And attachments are always, I am that. So every time you use the 6 R's, you're letting go of the attachment, a little bit at a time. It's like putting a coin in the bank, putting it in a piggy bank. Over a period of time, you'll fill it up, but it takes a while and it takes some work. It's kind of funny. People come to me for the interview, which I give every day, and they'll say, I had a great meditation. My mind was so calm, I could stay with the object of meditation, and I kind of yawn and go, okay, fine. Continue, everything's going fine. But when you come in and you start complaining about your mind doing this or doing that, good meditation, isn't it? Why is it good? Because now you have to work. Now you're really doing the meditation. Now you're allowing this to be and relaxing and smiling and coming back, and oops, there it goes again. It doesn't matter how many times your mind is distracted. Sometimes there is an attachment that's real big and real strong, and it doesn't go away very quickly. Great! It's helping you to improve your mindfulness. How did your mind go from being on your object of meditation over to this distraction? How did it happen? We don't care about why. That's for the psychologists. They can work with that all they want. We're trying to see how this process of mind arising actually works. What happens first? What happens right after that? What happens after that? What happens after that? The more you use the 6 R's, the faster your progress in the meditation becomes. Promise. And I'm used to people progressing very quickly. Now the thing with this meditation is I don't want you to experiment with, well, I learned this on that retreat, maybe I'll throw some of this in. No, don't do that. I've given you a perfect recipe. You start throwing other things in it, that recipe isn't going to come out in the same way. So you need to just follow the directions that I've given you as closely as you can without adding anything, without subtracting anything. Using the 6 R's often is the key. Now, some of you are practicing mindfulness of breathing. And because you've done this in the past and you've been practicing with one-pointed concentration, it's very easy to forget about the relaxed step. You can't do that. You have to continue on the in-breath, relax tension and tightness in your head, in your mind. On the out-breath, you relax the tension and tightness in your head, in your mind. On the in-breath, relax. On the out-breath, relax. There's a distraction. Let it be. Relax. Smile. Bring that smiling, pure mind back to your object of meditation. On the in-breath, relax. On the out-breath, relax. If you forget the relaxed step, you are going to tend towards one-pointed concentration. And that means that the end result of the retreat will not be what you're really looking for. The relaxed step is by far the most important part of the 6 R's. And the more you can use the 6 R's and develop the habit of using the 6 R's, after a period of time, it will start to become automatic. Something starts to arise in your mind, and it'll just fade away by itself. So you stay with your object of meditation, keep using the relaxed step. Now, if you're doing mindfulness of breathing, you want to continue that while you are walking. Keep your eyes down. Don't let other things distract you. And I know the wind can be distracting. So it's just the wind. So what? Doesn't matter. And I know that sometimes it gets cold here. Well, okay, it gets cold. So what? It's only a feeling. I don't like being cold. Who doesn't like it? Who has an attachment in their mind at that time? This practice is much easier than most people realize. It's simple. All you have to do is every time your mind goes anywhere, I don't care what it is, I don't care how interesting it is, you need the 6 R, simply smile, come back to your object of meditation. I want you to smile from the time you get up in the morning until you go to bed at night. I had some people, they said, well, I don't want to meditate. They're thinking that meditation is just about sitting. I can't sit still. Okay, don't. Smile all the time. And when you see you're not, use the 6 R's and start again. Now, there's 3 parts to meditation. The first part of meditation is practicing your generosity. How do you practice generosity when you're in a retreat? When you are sending loving and kind thoughts to your spiritual friend, you are sending that loving, kind feeling to them. You're giving them your attention, and you're giving him the good feeling that you have in your heart and wishing them sincerely to be happy. So you're practicing your generosity. Practice your generosity with your actions. Practice generosity with your speech. Say things that make other people smile, although I don't want you talking on this retreat. And think kind, loving thoughts to your spiritual friend. So you're practicing generosity when you are doing this practice. That softens your mind. That makes it easier to smile all the time. And I've had students that got to exceptionally deep states of meditation. And I told them that they had to smile, and they came back with wonder on their face, going, it really does help. So I don't care what level of meditation you're at, smile. The more you smile, the better your mindfulness becomes. The better your mindfulness becomes, the easier it is to notice how your mind's attention moves from one thing to another. And the faster you'll catch that, and you will start to get progress in your meditation. If you sit and have a good sitting, and then you get up and you do your walking, and as you're coming back to where you're going to sit again, you have this thought, oh, that was such a good sitting, I think I'll do that again. And it doesn't happen. And your mind is getting restless. So the natural thing to do is say, well, I got to try harder. And the harder you try, the more restless you become. And the more restless you become, the harder it is to sit. And the more you'll come to me and complain that this meditation doesn't work. But honestly, it does. And this works very well, not just regular well. This works very well. But if you go into your sitting thinking, I want something to happen the way I want it to happen, now you're already caught in your thinking and your emotional response to that, and the want to do something to make it better. And the suffering arises right after that. And it's hard when there's a lot of restlessness in your mind. So what do you do when you have a really tough sitting and your mind is jumping all over the place, and your mind just decides, I'm not going to be anywhere near the object of meditation? What do you do? How do you overcome that problem? The fastest and easiest way to overcome restlessness is to laugh with yourself for trying so hard. Chuckle, just to yourself. Oh, there I go again. As soon as you laugh, it changes your perspective. From I'm restless and I don't like it, to, well, it's only this restless feeling. Do I want to hang on to that or not? No, let's let it go. A lot of people, when they first start out on a retreat, they wind up putting in too much energy. So they come to me and, oh, my mind's running all over the place. So what do I tell them? You got to smile more. You got to have fun with this meditation. Stop being serious with the meditation. I've done this meditation for a lot of years. Okay, it's well over 35. And the first 20 years of the practice, I was extremely attached to putting in more energy, putting in more effort, because that's what I was told. It doesn't work. Instead of putting in more energy, you need to back off and not put so much energy into it. Not try to control it, not try to make it be the way you want it to be. That's not your job. Your job is to observe how mind's attention moves. And use the 6 R's. And chuckle with yourself for trying so hard. Now, I know this is really unusual. I gave a talk in Burma to monks that were working on their masters and PhDs, and some that had their masters and PhDs. And I told them, I'm going to say a sentence that you've never heard before in a meditation retreat. I want you to smile. I want you to have fun. And I want you to laugh. And their jaws dropped open. I said, you've never heard that before, have you? I said, no, not even close. Because their teachers were always telling them, you got to try harder. You got to put more energy into it, more effort into it. And they caused themselves problems because they were putting in too much energy, too much effort. So this is the opposite. This is step back and 6R. Have fun with this. This is a fun meditation. When I was in South Korea, this lady came up to me after 5 or 6 days of doing the retreat. She said, I've been practicing meditation for 10 years. I've never had any fun at a retreat. And I'm having fun with this. It's really interesting. So the more you can have fun and relax into these things and smile, the faster your progress in the meditation becomes. Now, when you're picking a spiritual friend, it does have to be somebody of the same sex. If you pick somebody of the opposite sex, you have a tendency to have infatuation coming up in your mind, and you start thinking about them more and more. Now you're not meditating anymore. So you pick a friend that you admire them, real respect for them, and you sincerely do wish them well. And you stay with that spiritual friend until I tell you to change. This is a progressive kind of meditation where you will go through different stages, and at different stages I'll tell you to do different things. Now, the reason that I want most everybody here to be doing the loving kindness is because with loving kindness meditation, your progress is faster with this meditation than it is with any other meditation. Not a little bit, a lot. So please just follow the directions that I'm giving you so that you can see what I'm talking about. I don't want you to believe anything that I say. I want you to experience what I'm talking about. And I sincerely wish you well so that you can do this practice without getting caught by too many distractions. But you're trying to develop the 6 R's so that they can become automatic. And when that happens, you really start progressing very quickly. Now, the precepts are very, very, very important. Don't break a precept on purpose. If you accidentally do break a precept, come and tell me, and we'll take the precepts again. If you don't tell me, your mind is going to have a lot of restlessness in. And that can be a problem. The precepts and the hindrances are intimately intertwined. You break a precept, you're going to have hindrances. And the precepts are fairly easy to follow. Don't kill anything on purpose. You might step on an ant or accidentally step on something and it might die, but your intention wasn't to do that. Your intention was just to put your foot down. Now that's not breaking the precept, but in Asia they love to mosquitoes. Well, that's intentionally causing harm to other beings. And that can happen with flies around here, and there's other beasties. I had a bee in my room today. And I let him go free, of course, but don't squash him just because. Don't take anything that's not given. No sexual activity at all. Don't say anything that's not true. Now, one of the problems that I had at one of the retreats was people getting close to the end of the retreat, they like to sit around and talk about what their different experiences was, and somebody that didn't have any clue what they were talking about was listening, and all of a sudden they're coming and telling me that's where they are. Well, they're lying. That's breaking a precept. You have to be honest with me. You have to be honest. And not taking any drugs or alcohol. That doesn't mean you can't take medicine. You can. Don't use any perfumes or decorations for your body for this 10-day period. Okay? So, I wish you all the highest and best success.